welcome back to the podcast. Just as we start, your phone falls off. Welcome back. As you can see, we have a new place. If you can't tell, if you're listening, we are somewhere else on screen. If you're watching, we're not in person. I can't touch him. See, there's a wall. It's just a virtual background. So we're
Otherwise,
trying out a new background rather than hanging out on just two plastered screens. We've got this, which is pretty good.
yeah, it's kind of neat. Yep, yep.
So we have a couple things we want to talk about today. I should say, have things you want to talk about today. So let's just get into it.
Yeah. I want to thank, first of all the people who viewed our sex and love video. It was our most successful video on YouTube so far. And we move on. I found some things on the internet that I thought that were interesting. They kind of interlope with one another. And I think we'll talk about them one at a time because we may have different views on what is said. The first category is called the 7 rules of life. And number 1, it says, make peace with your past so it won't disturb your present. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I think a lot of people go through problems with their past, and a lot of people carry things that happened with them in the past. So I think making peace with it is absolutely something you should do. Um, because I would preferably say you should do it with a therapist. That way, someone professional can guide you through the emotions. That way, uh, you can get proper closure in a proper way. But overall, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I learned too late to do that, but now I'm able to do it automatically. When I say automatically, in a short period of time. Number 2, what other people think of you is none of your business. Uh, what do you think?
What other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah, it shouldn't affect.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. You let people think what they want. Because there's no matter what, you're always going to have people that are going to disagree with you and not like you for a myriad of reasons. So it just doesn't help to value the good or the bad. Just value yourself and maybe like a couple people that you love that are in your like inner circle. But like aside from that, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good premise, but something very hard to do. I know in
Absolutely.
school, I know in school we care about what our classmates think of us. Sometimes, uh, if we're an actor and we're on stage, we worry
Well,
about our performance.
well,
Or
yeah, I think life-wise, yes. The answer is in a direct response, yes. But in reality, yeah, all of life is about giving a shit about uh
what
who
I think, yeah,
about other people's opinions. That's literally what I would argue like 70% of jobs in the world is being a personable person. That's how you climb the ladder and get promotions and do stuff because you can't just do your work. You have to be able to have the water cooler talk. You have to be able to be personable. You have to be able to go to these um like bar like the drinks on like a Thursday with the coworkers. You have to care at least to some degree, so that you can be aware and then make moves to make more money and so forth. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, it is harder to not care, especially when all our lives we're taught to care. Even in school, we're taught be mindful of others and pay attention and so on and so forth in ways that are kids are taught to be mindful of others, but are not taught to separate what the difference is of paying attention to other people versus caring about their opinions about them. They're just taught to be aware of everyone, and that awareness becomes caring. And we start to focus on that.
yeah. I remember the girl clusters in high school. And I'm not just saying this to give myself, a slap on the back, but I was very cute in high school. And I remember the girl clusters, and I wasn't shy, but to go over to a girl who probably wanted to go out with me, but had to get the approval of her friends, as to what she was doing, used to piss me off. And now I remember going to a 25-year reunion 25 years ago, and I saw these girls that were evaluating me, and I laughed to myself. I really did. I mean, I really did. These girls were women now, uh, kind of run down. But anyway, number three, time heals almost everything. Give it time.
Um, I think there's a big emphasis on the almost, because I think there's a lot of things that I think I can think of a lot of things that time doesn't heal, but that for all of those things, there's many more things that time does heal. So I would say yes, but with an emphasis heavy on the almost.
Yeah, me too, because uh, my wife had passed away 6.5 years ago. I'm in much better shape than when she passed away, but I'm still not healed.
Mhm.
Um, but time time is like a band-aid. You wait, it covers your wound, and then you wait when you pull the band-aid off at a certain time, whether or not you are healed. I really it ties in with make peace with your past.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I don't know if you ever heal, but I think maybe you can live with what is bothering you.
Well,
Uh,
I think what people's definition of healing is can vary as well. Um, because well, there's no real elaboration on that. I think the definition of healing for different people can vary. Um, so I would just say that. I would say that, some people find healing as a way of learning to live with something that they thought they wouldn't be able to live with, and other people find true actual liberation from such burden that they bear and have learned to live in harmony with it, or release it or not deal with it. So I think it varies deeply, but yes, time does heal most.
yeah, I agree. Um, no one is in charge of your happiness except you. Uh,
Yes.
you agree
Yes,
with that?
absolutely. Absolutely. I think no one is in charge of your happiness but you. And if someone else is in charge of your happiness, that's because you let them.
I agree. I was just going to say that. I was going to write this from the Seven Rules of Life that no one is in charge of your happiness except you,
Yeah.
unless you let other people really bother you.
Yeah.
Um,
You are in charge of all of it. And
yeah,
so therefore, if someone else is in charge, it's because you gave them that power.
yeah. Here's one that I find significantly important. Number five of the seven rules of life.
Okay.
Don't compare your life to others and don't judge them. You have no idea what their journey is all about.
Yeah. Again, I think so far, like all of these, they're very general and they lack a lot of context because yes, you absolutely should not compare your life. Simultaneously, we live in one of the most comparative, like lot people right now have the most available ability to compare themselves than ever before. We have social media, we've got people who are flexing millions and millions of dollars, people who um did one thing, got popular at just a very random time and are now a millionaire and will be a millionaire for the rest of their lives. And we've got people who worked for 8 years and then just made a bunch of money one day and are now very popular. And then you got people doing the exact same thing and making no money. So, and everyone's also trying to flex and look like they have more money than they do on social media because that's the game. So, I think, yeah, absolutely, you shouldn't compare yourself. Um, Especially so, like I go through that a lot. I find myself subconsciously comparing myself, um, as if we're in a race or something. But again, this is not something that's taught, that should be taught, emotional intelligence and self-awareness. But yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah, I tend to have fallen into that trap in my past years. I've tried to correct it, but I still fall into the trap a bit of comparing my life to others. I think it's a natural thing. Um, but
Oh, see, that's where we differ. I don't
yeah,
I don't think it's a natural thing. I think it's a taught thing because of the same way that in school from the beginning, you have students that when they do poorly, just for doing poorly, they get penalized rather than the teacher regarding them with empathy and saying, "Hey, let's figure out a way to get you to understand this in a healthier way." Instead, we look down on those students, or we allow students to ostracize other students for getting a C or a D or an F, rather than recognizing that we're all going to fail in life thousands and thousands of times. You know, again, these are deep concepts, but they start very early on. We've been comparing each other since kindergarten.
yeah, I had a very loving parents, and my father was my best friend. And uh, my father always taught me and my mother be kind to people. And what he always used to say, people judge you by the way you present yourself. Now, somebody can buy a suit, for example, and it looks great on them, and it's $150 suit. Where I go out and I may spend $850 suit on a suit, and they may look better in their suit, but I got the better suit. So we try to judge one another. My father always used to say, um, it's better to buy one good thing than five inexpensive things because the good thing will last longer and you'll probably look better in it. Um, I tended to always purchase the better car or lease the better car.
Mhm.
Uh, and I guess uh, from that, we were upper middle class and then we became lower rich. And I realized that the people who were super rich were looking at me with their perhaps their nose up in the air. I never did it to anybody else, but I fell in that trap of comparing my life to others, and I still think I do. I sometimes get envious. Maybe you do too, in the sense that I see other people um, at jobs making big money where I'm smarter than they are and can do a better job. I'm retired, but if I had to, I'd do a better job. So, I compare my life to others, but you have no idea when they go home what their journey is. Your grandmother worked for a top company. I will not name the company, and she worked sometimes for the owner of the company, and I'm talking about a major, major, major company. And he liked my wife, and he said, "Let me ask you a question. How are you doing so well with your children, meaning your mother and my son, and I, excuse my language, have completely fucked up everything." And he probably was close to being a billionaire, if not.
Mhm.
So I guess rich people can compare their lives to other people who aren't rich, um, because we don't know what journey they're going through. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always something to compare. I would argue once you get to a certain level of wealth, almost all of your problems are solvable. And the reason they haven't been solved is due to negligence. Because if I have $1 billion, I can afford the best therapist and the best family counselor, and I can literally buy more time for myself by having other people do certain work for me. So, I understand what your sentiment is, right? Rich and poor, and just because they're rich doesn't mean that they don't have problems. But I just needed to make that a little clear. At a certain level of wealth, you can literally fix everything in your life. And if they're not fixed, it's due to negligence versus certain people who can't afford a therapist or can't afford healthy food or exercise or time or whatever. So I get it. I get it. Unnecessary dive into that, I should say.
Yeah. With a little humor. The next one says, "Stop thinking too much." I keep when I talk to your mother when she has time to talk to me. You know, she's very busy taking care of the household. Um, I I fall into the trap of stop thinking too much, and one of the reasons is your mother says because I think too much. She
Hmm.
says about so many things. I said, look, if one day, if one day I have to go to the bathroom and I'm standing in front of the refrigerator, no, I got a problem. So I can see when your mind thinks about too many things at one time, and you think too much, can affect your sleep. It can affect your daily life. It can affect your happiness because it can bring on problems.
Yeah,
So yeah, what do you think?
I agree. I think trying not to think too much as someone who has his own problem of thinking too much. Um, yeah, I think it is very important to take efforts to slow down the thoughts and recognize that it will wait. Almost everything that you're worrying about or thinking about will wait. It like even if it's for a day or a couple hours, it will still be there. Or better yet, it's going to come, right? Like there's ways that you can work on slowing your thoughts down through things like meditation or just reading certain types of those styled like Buddhist or Taoist type books. Because, like, for example, one thing that helped me a lot when I was in college, when I was stressing out, taking 6 or 7 courses, running a radio show, and still trying to do things in my free time, um, was recognizing that, like, if you have a deadline, that deadline's coming, regardless of whether you think about it, don't think about it, worry about it, don't worry about it. That deadline is tomorrow. It's coming. You cannot do anything. No amount of thinking will stop that or slow it down. So if you can accept that that's there, you don't have to think about it because you
Yeah,
can recognize that it's inevitable. It's coming. Like you will not be able to. And practicing things like that can help slow some thoughts down, right? If you're like worrying about bills and stuff, write it down. Write it on a sticky note that you can see. So that way, when you get home, you can get it done. And then obviously you got to have the discipline to get it done, but like now you don't have to think about it. Just write it down. That's what I do. When I've realized that to help slow down some of my thoughts for the week, I write down things that I need to do in the week. It's not everything, but it's the main things that I have to do. And it
yeah,
helps me organize my week and gives me more control over my week so that I'm not wasting time going figuring out what I need to do. And I'm less stressed and I'm thinking less.
yeah. I agree with those sticky notes because I was putting my thoughts on the phone, and about at least 3, 4 times a day, I can't find my phone, so I lose my thoughts. So the sticky notes help.
Right. Well,
Okay.
and I've also found that for I'd say for whatever reason, it makes very much more sense. Writing things down physically, I remember them and retain them so much more. And it's because it's the physical act of writing rather than typing. Um,
100% agree.
but every single time without fail, when I write something, I learn it way faster. It's like when I used to have to do speeches at college. I used to handwrite the speech once, just once over. I already typed it, I already printed it, and I would handwrite it. Or I would do that when I'm studying, right, for an exam, rather than trying to memorize all this information. The study guide I had already printed. I just rewrote. And it
Yeah,
it was a form of studying.
yeah, that's what I did all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, in my day, I even put my notes down on a tape recorder and played it back to me.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, you it depends on what works for you. Some, but um I think in lieu of the thinking too much. Yeah, I think everyone could benefit from some type of breathing exercise and some slight like mental tasks to help them work on slowing their thoughts down, especially like with this newer generation of kids, the Gen Alphas. They think 18,000 miles a minute. And that's coming from a Gen Z, but like Gen
These
Alpha, they what?
Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Oh my God, I don't
Yeah.
even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the next generation. They
Okay.
they go 18 million miles a minute. Um, but obviously there's tons of reasons why people may overthink, right? Because the economy in America is going to shit. There's like six different wars going on. No one can afford a house, food, all that stuff. We don't need to get into that, but there's tons and
Yeah,
tons of reasons why.
you just did the lead into number seven.
I
Smile. You don't own the problems of the in the world. That's bull crap. I mean, there's so much bad stuff going on in the world.
I was gonna say that's kind of a bullcrap. That's a bullcrap thing. Smile, you don't own the problems of the world. So hold on. Let me actually parse that a little bit. Parse that out. Yes and no. You don't own the problems of the world. Absolutely, you should be concerned with what's going on in the other countries, especially if it involves America providing warfare for another country or involves another country threatening nukes. Whatever it is, absolutely be aware and fight for it if you agree or disagree with it, right? Go protest, go do what you need to.
Yeah.
Um, and no, I guess I disagree because now that I'm speaking it out, I think I disagree because I think we are all here on this earth together, so we should all care about each other. Um, at this, no, okay, I guess here's where I disagree. If there's a war and you disagree with the war, absolutely, by all means, I think you should protest if you feel that's a way of dealing with it. And if there's other people to protest, join them. Go for it. Go for your march. Um, do I think you should be in America stressed, whining, and complaining about um, a new policy that was enacted in India where uh, rich people get less taxes than the poor, and it's not directly in the long term, it may affect a lot of people, but like directly, it's not doing anything in this immediate future. I think there's bigger things to focus on. I think you don't have to stress about that. I don't think you need to know every political thing that's going on in the world and stress about every single thing. But I think there's major things that we should absolutely be paying attention to and absolutely be focusing on. And if you're upset, then you should be. Like that's the point. Because it should enact change and action. So I think majority of that is bullcrap of like smile, the world's problems are not yours. Bullcrap, I think, to most of it.
Yeah, I think I like to smile. I like to smile with my friends. I like to smile
Yeah,
if I hear
smile,
it.
smile as much as you want. But
But I think it's something wrong with people who walk around smiling all the time. I mean, I'm kind of subject to what the hell are they smiling about, I mean,
well, that may be an internalized problem with you and I. Like we may that may be just a taught problem with where we live. Um, at the same time, I understand what you're getting at. It can get to like a creepy level, like an uncomfortable level. But yeah,
Okay, let's move on. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to look this up, it's the Seven Rules of Life verbatim. Uh, Now the next place I found was Smile Mental Health Awareness Blog, and it says contact us. Okay, I'm not going to get into it deeply. I'll just do it superficially. Okay. Uh, the first thing they say is let it go. And a lot of this is very similar to the seven rules of life.
I was gonna say that letting it go pertains very similar to
Yeah, never ruin a good day by thinking about a bad day. And and for, then they say forgive other people for offenses or past mistakes. Forgive yourself for missteps. Like let painful memories fade by choosing different thoughts. Accept what happened in your life.
yeah.
Uh, I'll
Uh,
go with never ruin a good day by thinking about a bad day. But the rest of this stuff is very hard to take.
no, I think all of these, because this is all about positivity and
Yeah,
mental health and so forth. Um, I think because it's all about that, all of this is hard. It is all hard. It is all difficult. It is all stuff that requires work and effort because it's not accepted and taught in schools and uh, accepted as something that we as a human society should be doing off rip. Um, but with
every
that,
says everybody says it's not their problem. The teachers, even
right,
parents.
well, because we live in an individualistic society, a very selfish one, and therefore people have been taught to be selfish. And then when people are selfish and all of a sudden it starts hurting each other because everyone wants what they want for themselves and not as a team, and now everyone's shooting themselves in the foot because everyone's selfish. Everyone's going, "What happened?" No shit. Um,
Yeah.
but read the what was the first two again?
Forgive other people for offenses or past mistakes. That's
And
why
then
it's
what's the so all right, I'll answer that one. Forgive
forgive
people for their
yourself,
pet.
forgive yourself for
Yeah.
misstep.
So I absolutely agree. I think you to be in terms of working on someone's internal health, absolutely you should forgive people. You should never forget if it was something terrible or if it's something unforgivable or unforgivable. That's the wrong term. I think I think you should always try to forgive. I think there are times where things are unforgivable from someone else, but I think you should forgive yourself always. Always, always, always forgive yourself.
I agree.
I think there are extremely rare times where there are things that are unforgivable. I think there are plenty of things that people think are unforgivable that are actually forgivable. They just have a bit of an ego about it or they're very hurt about it, which is understandable. But I think there are very rare times where there are things that are unforgivable. And so for those go in that special spot. Everything else I think should be forgiven, but if they are significant enough, then they should not be forgotten.
Yep. And this number two, ignore them. Don't listen to other people. Think of you. Live a life that is empowering for you. Ties in with the seven rules of life about what other people think. Isn't it?
Yeah, this one's directly about what other people think. Again, I think that goes hand in hand with what I was saying in kindergarten. We've been teaching people to judge, and I read a thing when I was in, I think, high school. Some guy pointed out, he's like, we're taught literally in kindergarten, we play spot the difference. And what do? We circle it with a nice red circle, a glaring red circle. It's something so simple, but we're being taught to spot the differences, point out what's wrong, and we're using a bright red pen.
Yeah.
And the same bright red pen is used to tell us that we got an F, you know? So instead of draw like, and it's simple. It's so simple and it's so stupid, but like, why not draw a heart around it? Why not use green? Why not use anything else? Or why not like make a picture out of it or point out how beautiful those things are? Instead, it's spot the problems. Like, it's been taught since the beginning. So I think absolutely we're working on not caring what people think and living your true self is great. But I think it's also a very hard thing when all of society is being taught to do the opposite. And for some people who are more susceptible to other people's thoughts, it can be even more difficult for them to navigate.
Yeah. It says here, and be true to yourself and do what makes you happy, and the right people will stick around.
Yeah.
Number three is give it time. Time heals all. We talked about that in the seven rules of life. But there's one thing in here. It says sometimes it's very difficult to heal a broken heart. And I agree with that. I do believe that hearts do get broken. I do believe that it can take a long, long time to heal. Um, Sometimes it has to be someone else interacting with you to heal that broken heart, and sometimes it doesn't heal at all, and that can cause very much damage to you mentally and physically, and
Yeah.
to your health. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we keep going, we're going to take a quick pause. This is your time to take a wee break. We will be right back. Okay, we're back. Hi.
Hi, hi, hi. The next one, and it's amazing how the Smile blog is so much similar to the seven rules of life. Perhaps it's from the same people.
Could
It
be.
says, it says, don't compare. Don't compare yourself. The only person you should try to beat is the person you were yesterday. I like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've seen that a lot with
yeah,
like these mental health bros.
yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Measuring measuring your worth or well-being against other people is a useless activity that ends in despair.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
I agree with all of it. Nothing more to say.
I think they're both pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
having a competition or comparison with yourself is fine. But I also think simultaneously you also have to have patience with yourself. It's okay to compare only to yourself, right? But it's okay to say, oh my, like today I feel a little weaker, today I'm a little slower. I don't have to be better every single day. If we're looking at the big picture, am I growing as a person? Am I the same person I was 6 months or a year ago? Or have I worked on something or am I working on things actively? That, that is more important than going every single day. Oh my God, I gotta be better. I gotta be smart. I gotta do all these things every single day. No.
yeah, no. Yeah, the next one, uh, I have little problems with, not that I don't agree with it, I just have problems with what they're saying. Stay calm, and I know that it's okay not to have everything figured out. Uh, um, I am someone who has to have things figured out. I'm a planner and I make lists, maybe because my memory is a bit faulty, maybe because it's an intelligent thing to do, maybe because I think of so many things, but I can't stand getting up in the morning and not having a solution to something that I left over from the day before. So it's hard for me to stay calm unless I complete the projects before me.
Okay. I think I agree with that. Obviously, I think it's a healthy way of living is stay calm and recognize you can't solve everything. Um, in terms of getting that actually done, I don't think that's as easy said. I think it's easier said than done. I think writing things down is a nice way to gain control over what is not physical, right? Writing things, the things I have to do down in my day, um, for me gives me comfort. It makes me physically see what I have to do in the day or the week and gives me some semblance of control. Um, because that's virtually what most people are looking for is control and um, security. And by writing it down, I am secure in the fact that these things are going to occur. Um,
Yeah,
I personally am I actively try and work on it because it is an effort and an experience to work on for me and plenty of other people to actively work on changing or being allowing yourself to be okay with the unknown and not having your whole day planned or so forth. Not that I necessarily need my whole day planned, but being okay with things like that or just being more spontaneous or saying, I've got these things planned today. They don't have to happen when I thought they were, so long as I get them done today, because life itself, things will happen that are unplanned. So teaching yourself to be okay with the unplanned makes life a little easier.
yeah. The next one, uh, ah, very generalizing. It says it's on you. You're in charge of your happiness and how your life turns out.
Yeah,
Don't, don't give other people the power to control your happiness. I think it's easier said than done. It can be done.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, and then they say 10 ways to stop giving people power over you. Establish healthy boundaries.
Hmm.
Take responsibility for your emotions. That
Mm.
means don't blame anyone else for making you feel guilty or making you feel bad about yourself.
Hmm.
Uh, let other people respond. Don't let other people be responsible for their emotions. You can't make everyone happy.
Yep.
Um, acknowledge your choices. When you find yourself thinking you have to do something, change your language. You don't have to do everything.
Hmm.
Uh, live according to your values. Forgive and move forward. Stop trying to prove people wrong. Don't let your self worth depend on other people's opinions. Don't waste energy complaining. And stop thinking
Mm.
about unhelpful interactions with others.
Yeah.
You want,
I think I agree with all of that, except for the complaining one. I think sometimes it is uh it for the I think it's not improbable. Um I think it's unrealistic for to say, oh, well, you shouldn't complain about anything. I think we can make a picturesque, perfect idea, like a Buddhist idea of what people should and shouldn't do. But I think realistically, it's arguably healthy to complain once in a while. I think if you make it a habit and it's your personality, but if you everyone's got to blow off steam at one point or another. Some people do it by going for a run, other people go for a swim, other people box or a bike ride, and some people just need to get it out. And so I think complaining is okay. I think I think the important thing about all this, so this whole episode is we're pulling a lot of um generalized, very open-ended how-tos, how to be happy uh lifestyle topics. They're general because they're meant to be able to attach to every single person who reads it. That's the whole point of them. Um, that's why they're so general. And I think every single one of these needs context and needs deeper conversations with them because as we've been doing this whole episode, some of them I agree with a caveat, or some of them I agree with in this circumstance. So like that one and some of them are just unrealistic and arguably can do more damage if taken too literally, right? Like the don't complain one. I truly think some people are will do better in life and feel better in their lives if they have the space, the safe and open space to complain once in a while. I
Yeah.
truly think that.
And, going along with that, it says, stop trying to prove other people wrong in this political
Well, that's
atmosphere.
bullcrap. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Stop trying to prove. Well, again, like that's another one. No reason to take that literally. We don't need to take that literally. Obviously, there are times where you don't need to stop. You need to stop trying to prove people wrong. There are people out there who can't accept when they're wrong. So they will do everything they can to try and prove someone wrong, even if that person is right. In those situations, this applies. In general, that does not apply because we should absolutely 100% be proving people wrong, especially in this time where so much misinformation is about. It is so important to prove people wrong and present them with real, actual facts,
Yeah.
real, actual facts, video evidence, photographic evidence, firsthand accounts, scholarly articles, all of it.
And then,
All of it.
and then
Absolutely.
sometimes you got to realize you could present them with facts over facts over facts, and they don't accept it. So you should just drop the subject, because what's going to happen is uh, you're going to lose a friend, you're going to lose uh, an acquaintance, you may talk
Well,
yourself
it's
up.
not well, but here's the thing. If you're disagreeing on something that's fundamentally like a problem, right? On like a human rights scale, it's not worth having that friendship because if you two disagree on a fundamental level with something that has to do with human rights or human lives, that's a problem, and you shouldn't be friends with that person because it damages you as a person to be with them, but also your relationship with other people. So I don't think that's a healthy thing. Not that uh, I'll leave it at that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And the last one is smile or don't. Life is short. Enjoy it while you have it. Smile and cherish the happy moments. Be good and kind to yourself and others, and spread positivity wherever you can. And I'll add to that, something I always try to adhere to is be your own best friend.
Hmm.
And all of this, I believe, is written by Maddie, Maddie Howson, Howson. All of these smile facts give her credit. And if you want to hear more about it, it's mhsmileblog@gmail.com. I'll repeat it again, I'm sorry, mhsmileblog@gmail.com.
Hmm.
And um,
That's
I,
that's her email. I don't think that's the web page.
oh, well, then the webpage is
I would say just look up mssmileblog.com. Um,
Smile, Smile Blog, it's called.
Smile blog. Yeah, I would say
The Smile,
Smile blog, and then you can look up the title or topics within here. Um, I think with all of these, there's a huge, huge caveat and recognition that um, we can sit here and say, look for the best in every day, look for um, try and be happy and do all these things. And we're sitting here saying that as two white men. And I think that's a very important caveat to add. And I don't need to get super deep into it because this is not the point of this episode. But it is an important thing to be aware of is we can sit here and we can say, be happy, focus on these things, focus on that things, do breathing exercises. All of that can go out the window when there are forces outside of your own that are doing everything they can to make sure that you have the worst time possible. You can still defeat the odds and try and have a good day and have a good life and enjoy yourself. But that does not change that there are people out there who are experiencing a completely different world than people like us. And therefore these conversations and these topics are 10 times harder to achieve, 1,000 times harder to even discuss, uh, and 500,000 times harder to achieve. So
Yeah,
with that recognition,
yeah,
this is all contextual based and
yeah,
per person that needs to be discussed.
yeah. It would be something that you would hear in school if they even chose to take the time to discuss it with you. Because if it's not in their textbooks or not in their lesson plans that they've been using for 10 years, uh, they wouldn't bring it up because most of these professors don't renew their textbook notes or their lesson plans ever.
But they don't
So,
even go through the whole textbook. Every single year that I had a textbook, not from kindergarten to college, not a single professor used the full textbook. Uh, Only one got close, and that was a Religions of the World class where we went through almost the entire book, uh, bar like 2 chapters. So
I,
yeah.
yeah, I brought this up to you many times. Um, During my master's program, I had this excellent teacher, Dean Rice, should rest in peace. And he gave us, from time to time, very difficult assignments. And he came out and he said, look, don't go into your fraternity file cabinet and give me a report that think that somebody used 7 years ago or whatever year he said and think it's safe. Well, lazy people did it. Lazy people got caught because he remembered everything he had taught and everything that was presented to him over the years.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, a lot of these professors are on the ball. I mean, he probably taught me the most.
Well,
Uh,
let's be clear. All teachers right now are being overworked to living hell.
oh,
Uh,
yeah. I
all of
mean,
them, all of them. They should be paid so much more, and they should be. We should be hiring much more teachers that are actually qualified. I'm looking at you, some of the mid states, the Midwestern states.
yeah.
But yeah,
I was a teacher for 30 years, 31 years, and it was my fault. I couldn't dribble a basketball and dunk. What can I tell you?
yeah, yeah.
I,
That's why. That's why.
you know. So anyway, I'm back in Florida now. I visited with you for you and my son for 2 weeks, your
Hmm.
family, my son's family.
Hmm.
I, I had a wonderful time. I thank both of you. And now I'm back and I'm waiting for
You've got
next
your birthday coming up. Yay!
birthday. And that'll be on my bucket list taken off. And I have some things on my bucket list that I have to make peace with my past with. And some that time has not healed
Hmm.
yet. So, but some very good things. So I was thinking of flying out of a plane, but then again, I thought about it because there's always a good chance I may not land right, even with an instructor, and I don't want to be in a wheelchair. So I might go to complete some of the other bucket lists.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to having people listen to this podcast. It's basically about happiness and the rules of life. And maybe when I see you, well, it'll be before then, we'll do another podcast. And I like that background that you put up, Peter.
Yeah.
Very, very good. It would have been nice if you had a background like of the Playboy Club.
Eesh.
That
Yeah.
that would with some playgirls walking by as we're talking.
Hmm.
Search that out.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. So until then, everybody, be well, stay cool.
All right. Yeah. Stay cool. It's getting hot.
Yeah,
Planet's gonna cook us alive, hopefully.
yep.
Peace
Uh,
out.
Peace out. Oops, no fingers, okay.